Hey everyone, I'm John Storm with Armored Combat Worldwide and the Rock City Rogue Knights, and today we're going to show you how to build your own list. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our list project. Now, a list is a medieval fighting arena, or a ring as we would call it in boxing. This is the field where our sport is played. My team was fortunate in that we were able to rent a small space from a friend for a very modest price. This just goes to show that you can always find a space, even if your team is located in an inner city like us. We didn't need that much space, as we're looking to be able to practice and host a few chapter-size fights. That means a max of 5-on-5. So our list will be 15 feet by 30 feet. The lot we're using is an old asphalt parking compound. About 15 to 20 years ago, the owner had several yards of topsoil dumped in it for various projects around her property. That mound you've seen us working on is what's left of that topsoil. Cleaning the lot was one of those many hands make light work type situations. Most of the team showed up, and Jim here brought some extra help from home. We're just loading up that soil and moving it to various gardens around the property. And with all the help that day, things went really fast. I really expected it to be an all-day project just cleaning the lot, but it only took us about 2.5 hours. Once we finished getting it up, we went ahead and lined out the areas where we were going to have everything built. And then we went through with the weed whacker and started cutting down the grass in the background and then trimmed some of the low-hanging branches. Now we decided to start by marking the southeast corner, and that's going to be our starting point. So we're just driving a pole through there, measuring out our 15-foot, hammering in another one, and then we're just going to work our way around. Right here we're just measuring out that 30 feet, making sure we have the right distance, making sure it looks square at least. In a little bit we're just going to go ahead, there's our 3x5 right there, making sure that it is in fact square. Next up, we're just going ahead and tying a line from all 4 points that we've already driven in. This is just going to give us a straight line so we can start marking. And we decided to mark our north and south, that's the short ends. We did 5-foot increments in between the posts. And right here we're marking out 6-foot increments for the left and right hand sides, the long sides. We have the jackhammer only because we have to go through the asphalt and there's multiple layers. The previous tenants of this compound that used it were an old asphalt company, so they just kept throwing in pavement whenever they had to empty out their trucks. So in some cases we had to go through up to 8 layers. Fortunately, you probably won't have this problem. So I marked everything out, marked out 12-inch diameter holes, and Jim's just going through and edging it up with his jackhammer. And we're hammering through with pickaxes and digging down. You can actually see when they finally get the dirt. And we went down 30 inches, so that way we could pack the lower 6 inches with gravel for drainage. In western New York, where we're at, the frost line is 24 inches, so I'll explain more on that in a little bit. Now, when we went to go purchase our lumber, we decided to save a little bit of money, and we figured out how many posts we needed and bought 12-foot posts. We just bought only half as many posts as you would think because we were going to cut them in half to make 6-foot posts, if that makes sense. Yeah, wait till I cut it. You'll see. Hey, there we go. Now we're all the way through. Look at that. I doubled the amount of posts we have now. What we did that for was so that way we would have 2 foot to go underground and 4 foot that would stand up top. You really don't need 6-foot long posts to make a list, so a 4-foot post actually works just fine. 4 foot above ground, that is. Now I know it looks like we're just throwing them in the holes, but we're actually just getting them in there, and we're going to true them up and get them level and pack them in with gravel to hold everything tight.
So unfortunately I didn't get any close-up footage as we were digging the holes, but we dug down in these holes about a 12-inch diameter hole, and we went down 30 inches. That's because in Western New York, where we're at, the frost line is at 24 inches. You always want to dig about 6 inches past the frost line. So we dug 30-inch holes. We packed in 6 inches of gravel for drainage. That's to keep the frost from building up underneath there and pushing our post up and loosening its structure. Right now we've got a good solid post and we want that to hold for as long as possible. Afterwards we just packed in gravel and sand and the likes to pack it in tight and allow water to still be able to drain through. My own preference, we used a little concrete top and then packed the dirt in over top. Pretty easy, not very difficult at all.
Now the real trick is making sure all the posts are in line, so that way you don't have a wavering fence there. So the trick here is actually pretty easy. It's not much of a trick. You just tie a line. Secure the corner posts first, make sure they're all true and straight and in line with each other, and then you just set that line, and everything else you measure up to the line, make sure everything's level, make sure everything's true and plumb, and just work your way down the line. Pretty easy. Really not that difficult. Now, I kind of cheated here. I went out and I got a laser level to do this, just so I could run a nice level laser line all the way around everything, and it's not really required. I just know that we're going to be filming a lot of stuff in here, so I wanted to make sure those fence rails were as level as possible. So all I'm doing is using deck screws. We used 3-inch deck screws. At some point, I'll purchase some carriage bolts and just so it's a little more sturdy, a little more security there. And this part I did myself. Not everybody was available that day, so the team still had to get practice done, so it was okay if one of us missed it, but not so great if all of us missed it. So in order to work alone, I just made sure I had clamps handy. Clamps, and I had my level on hand. So I just clamped things in and just made up for the lack of hands. Doing the second rail was pretty easy. I didn't need the laser level or anything. I just went ahead and threw a line, and I'd get my level out, and I used just a measuring block. So I just used the same block to make sure everything was spaced out the right way, measuring off of the top rail. Now it was really nice that Mike was able to make his way out and help me out with the last of the bottom rails. I really didn't expect to get a second set of hands to finish up this portion, but hey, it worked out great. Later on, we'll go ahead and add gates in, but for right now, we got what we need in order to actually fight. Hope you enjoyed this.
So as you can see, it's all a relatively simple project. With just a couple $100 and a couple of friends and a weekend or two, you can build your own chapter-size list. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm John Storm for Armored Combat Worldwide and the Rock City Rogue Knights, and we look forward to seeing you in the list. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. We certainly had a fantastic time making it. If you have any questions about building your own list, go ahead and leave them right there in the comment section. We'll be sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe now.